Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet, and today we have a special guest, Captain Jason Gore with Gore's Offshore Lures. Hey, Jason.
What's up, Cap? Super excited to be here, man. Thanks for having us. Really looking forward to talking dolphin fishing today with you guys.
Man, it's you know, I'm I'd written a blog a couple weeks ago, and I've talked about it leading into this season about you always keep an eye on the North Carolina fishery because that will tell you how healthy the dolphin are out there right now versus last year versus the year before. And we had a couple lulls in years now where the dolphin fishing up there wasn't so good, and then down here correlated to that. But I have to say, just looking and seeing what Jason's catching up there and what the rest of the fleet is, man, is it killer right now. And we're talking big fish, 30, 40, 50 pounders average. And Jason's been crushing them up there offshore. So I have to say it's back. So I wanted Jason to come on today and we wanted to talk about what's happening up there and talk about what's working down here in the Florida, in South Florida, up and down, actually up and down the east coast of Florida, down into the Keys. So I'm going to pass it over to Jason here and Jason, what do you got going on up there, brother?
Well, as you said, Captain Ryan, it has been quite the run this season. It's been very, very refreshing to see such, good numbers. Not only, what we call gaffers, anywhere from a 15 to 25 pound fish. We're talking multiple 30s. I mean, lots of 30s. Let me rephrase that. Several 40s last week, 57. Um, hit one of our lures and missed it, didn't choke it, and then he luckily ate a sea witch beside him, which I was super happy for the team. I wish he would have ate the Gore's offshore lure, which he did. He just
Yeah.
ate the hook in his mouth. So,
It's
um,
funny is that it's like you got to get the fish into your spread. What did he come in on the spread to? What lure was it?
yeah, and that's always, and we'll talk about trolling here in a little bit, but whatever it is, like you can be fishing one day and catch every fish, a dolphin, a wahoo, and a tuna on one lure in that same exact spot. And it could be the blue and white that brought him in. It could be a black fin, a beeline, it could be anything, but you just kind of have to figure out the combination that you like to run. And for me, Cap, I've said it before, it's a lot of blues and whites, pinks, especially with our dolphin fishing. We're talking like our dolphin colors here. So it's all personal preference, but being in the Carolinas up here, I always have a chance a lot of times of catching blackfin tuna as well. So that's why we run a lot of blues and whites and greens, tuna love greens and things like that. So um, again, to see the fishery this year from where it was the last, you said 3 years, you're being awful kind, sir. I would even call it 4 or 5 years.
Has it been 4 or 5 years?
Yeah,
I
it's
know. I
been.
look at it, you guys up there. I'm like, when I see an average 20 pounders versus what we've been seeing down here, it's like,
It's
man.
it's been
But
like it's been lackluster to say the least, and I'm just kind
yeah,
of being kind about it. And it's unfortunate. Every time I want to go out, I want to line the dock up with 15, 20, dolphin when we come back. But the last several years, it just unfortunately hadn't been like that. But this year, you go out and catch 5 or 6 25-pound fish. You've had a great day as well. So, and the thing I love about dolphin fishing for all you new guys and gals out there, Captain Ryan and I were talking earlier, it's kind of the gateway into becoming an offshore fisherman. So you can go out and catch some slingers, 8 to 15 pounds, sling them in the boat. And it just kind of opens the door to, man, we can go catch some bigger dolphin. Now we can catch some tuna and, hook your first wahoo and it's over. So we're not here to talk about wahoo today, but, it's just the gateway, what we call the gateway fish to kind of really push everybody into what we call just true offshore fishermen, not king mackerel, Spanish, and all that. They literally go offshore and catch pelagics out there. That's what I do. I don't care anything about a Spanish or a king, flounder. I love to eat them. Don't get me wrong, but I just have no inkling to catch them. So, but yeah, the fishery's back. Well, it's back this year, and with the big rock starting Monday, I'm going to guess it's going to take a 60-pounder to win the Dolphin division this year. That's just my guess. Like I said, you see some 50s, and I know one boat had 340s one day. So they're out there, they're swimming with the big boys, and we'll find out next week how big a Dolphin is going to bring home the $700,000 prize.
And now you have some boats that are fishing the Big Rock that are using your lures. Is that correct?
Absolutely, man. I was asked to fish the Big Rock, and long story short, I wasn't able to. Which, quick side note, I had bursitis in my knee last week, so Memorial Day weekend and week, I was, unfortunately in the hospital. So my knees slowly but surely getting better, and I'm kind of glad I didn't sign up now because I wouldn't be able to stand up on the boat and fish and things like that. But yes, sir, we have a ton of lures, in the tournament. We've got some boats and the boat that I was asked to fish on, they don't even marlin fish. They're not going to fish for marlin at all, even though it's a marlin tournament. They are going to catch the biggest dolphin. That's what their goal is. So, you go pay $8,000-9,000 and you can catch a $700,000, dolphin. That's what everybody's going after. So, a lot of our clients, they're not marlin fishing at all. They're just strictly, going to dolphin fish and try to catch the biggest dolphin. So,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
fingers crossed for all our clients. We hope they had some good luck, and it's good to hear your name at the scales whenever, oh, we caught this on the Gore's offshore lure and things like that. So super exciting and satisfying that you help put fish in the boat for clients. It's always humbling for sure.
So we're coming into the peak dolphin season down here in the Keys, and you sell a lot of lures to clients, and you've been doing this for years to clients that have been using the Gore's offshore lures down here in South Florida, up and down the East Coast. As far as what would be your recommendations like right now for somebody that hasn't used your lures and they're gonna go, they want to try them. So as far as just going out and putting out a little trolling spread, what would be your recommendations for them right now, for them to things to take a look at with what you have right now? So, and then I call it the candy shop. When I look at the table, I'm like, man, there's nothing that gets you more exciting than just looking at that.
Yeah, my buddies come over and they want to get the 5 finger discounts all the time. They accidentally drop one. This one's got a scratch on it now. I'll just I'll get this at a discount. So, but yeah, to kind of I'll tell about my fishery real quick, and then we'll kind of lead into what our clients are doing down in the Keys and everything. So, being from the Carolinas, we fish a lot of ballyhoo. It's no secret. I've been talking about this for a year and a half with you now. How we fish ballyhoo, but with dolphin fishing, dolphin really aren't picky. If they can get their mouth on it, they will eat it. Whether it's a Dorito bag, an Oreo cookie, or some kind of a naked lure like this right here. They're going to get their mouth on it and just you're going to have a good day. It's just part of it. They're a dolphin. For those of you that don't know, they're the fastest growing fish in the ocean. So they can gain up to 13 to 21 or 22 pounds in 1 year. So if you catch a dolphin that's 20 pounds, that fish is less than a year old. So just a food for thought, and to say, man, if you're catching a 57-pound dolphin, that dolphin is almost 3 years old, which is kind of unheard of because, they commercially fished and things like that. But a lot of us rec guys go out there and we're trying to catch these fish. So obviously the bigger the fish, the better. Everybody likes to catch big fish, but just keep in mind that if you catch a 30-pound dolphin, he's only about a year and a half old. So, but again, they're going to eat everything they can. With that being said, when I get to the grounds to where I want to fish, especially this time of year, it's usually half ballyhoo and then half lures. I like to see what they're going to eat for the day. And when I say lures, I'm talking about stuff like this right here. This is the naked lure with wings on it here. Like here's another one. It's just a naked lure. And it's got jets on it. And then it's got wings. And it's got the flash under there. So all you do it's just like this lure here. You can see the hook right here, and you just put a hook on it. You don't put any ballyhoo on it, and you simply throw it in the water. And this thing's going to pop and dive and catch air and make a bubble trail and things like that. And we have all different colors too. So here's a black one with the black wings. Again, it's got jets on it. So when I say naked lures, I mean, we run ballyhoo on these lures. These are our chugger heads that we're kind of known for. And these are the same ones that are down at Chris Bait and Tackle. They've just got mylar underneath. I know guys that rig these here. Yeah, there you go, right there. Captain Ryan's got one. Yeah, it's got the blue mylar underneath with the stiff rig hook, stainless steel, super sharp hooks. So I'm going to run half ballyhoo and I'm going to run half lures. Well, I do that for two reasons. One reason, I don't have to rig as many ballyhoo, for one. And if the dolphin are chewing, it's really not going to matter what you put out there. And for two, I like to see what the fish are going to, like better that day. Is it ballyhoo? Some days it's ballyhoo. Some days it's the naked lure. So if it's ballyhoo, I may back out a couple of naked lures and throw an extra couple of ballyhoo lures in there. So I'm always prepared for either. So, but down in the Keys, most of our clients are just pulling, like I said, it's like a 4 spread with these naked lures here. Again, you can see the hook right here. It's kind of buried up in the skirt. And this helps, we were talking yesterday, Cap, about, having that hook up in the skirt. It's going to keep you a touch more weedless. It's not going to prevent it 1,000,000%.
Right.
But it does help a lot that your hook's up in there. It's not, hung out, going to grab stuff or whatever. So most of our clients down in Florida, they're just pulling these naked lures, like I said, a 4 or 5 spread and just letting them go. And you can also, what I like to do too is, again, I have a chance at catching a tuna. So I've got these. This is just a flippy floppy here. It's the mini. You can see the size of my hand. This is the mini. And it's like 4 foot long. And at the end down here, it's just got your swivel on it right there. Can you see that? Yeah. So you would just take this and just hook it up to your naked lure like this. And then, your naked lure's behind your flippy floppy here.
Yeah. That's a big dolphin magnet right there.
These bigger fish, they like a lot of commotion and they like to see things in the water. And when they see a bunch of, baby squid and they've got this, 6, 7 inch dolphin behind it chasing it, for whatever reason, God made them to always hit the stinger for, now I've had them chew the squid before, don't get me wrong, but, they usually hit that stinger every time. So, and like you said, it is kind of a big fish magnet. They like that extra commotion and they're like, oh man, that fish is chasing them. Watch me. I'm going to go eat the fish that's chasing them. So,
yeah. It's funny, Jason, you say it's like, when I go dolphin fishing, I just don't want to run a teaser. I got to have a hook in it. So that flippy floppy thing is like, I can't put a teaser in the water without a hook when I go dolphin fishing. So that thing is like serves the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and you can run it anywhere really on your boat, but if I want to run it as a quote unquote teaser, but like you said, I've got a lure behind it. So
Yeah.
I am running on my flat line, but it's out in the clean water where they can see it. I just don't have it 150 yards behind my boat. It's just past my whitewater where they can see it. So it's making a commotion like it's trying to get up to the what we call the mouse trap, the whitewater, whatever you want to call it. And it's like trying to hide and it can't get there. And then, like I said, your stinger bait's back there, and it's just a great place to catch a really nice dolphin for sure. So
yeah,
and most of our rigs, we're just using a standard, ballyhoo rig like this. And I'll show you kind of a trick that I do with all of my tuna lures and my dolphin lures. Can you see the wire going through the hook there, Cap?
Yep.
So that doesn't make me 100% bite proof. It doesn't. They can still choke it and they can bite on this side of it right here and bite me off for sure. But if they get it here, with this number 12 wire wrapped around this hook and crimped up here, I just feel like I got a way better chance of catching a wahoo, barracuda, king mackerel, a big Spanish, something like that. Like I said, it doesn't make it 100%, but it just gives me a little satisfaction to know that, hey, man, if we do catch a wahoo, and look, I can't tell you how many wahoo have been caught on this blue and white chugger. I had a picture sent to me the other day, 3 wahoo on this lure right here, and they were dolphin fishing. So, just never know. So to be safe, all of my rigs personally, and I've done some for you, Cap. I can custom do rigs for anybody.
Oh, they're perfect.
I just go the extra mile with my stuff personally, and I just try to prevent stuff like that. Again, it's not 100%, guys and gals. Don't. Oh, Jason said if I did this, I wasn't going to lose a fish. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm going to be the first one to tell you you're just as capable of losing him then as you are now. But again, it just gives me confidence in what I'm doing is, if I do, because, mid-May, into May, I'm not going out wahoo fishing. And I've talked about this a lot, over the last year with you and all your guys is, when you go fishing, you need to be specifically doing something. So I'm either wahoo fishing or I'm dolphin fishing and I'm tuna fishing. It's rarely all three, because our wahoo kind of come up in April. They migrate on, 1st of May. You can still catch them. We have residential wahoo, and I've caught a wahoo in every single month of the year. So from January to December, I've caught a wahoo every month. Now, if you know what you're doing, you can go out and target them. But again, just having a chance at them when I'm dolphin fishing, it just gives me some security. So,
yeah.
And one thing I'll show you guys too about, our chugger heads here. Can you see that piece of mylar right there, Cap?
Yes.
So you can see where the water goes in up top here.
Yep.
And then it comes out of the side right here. So why that's important is, and when you engineer NASCAR and Formula One teams and drag teams to go fast all the time, it kind of carries over into your lure making ability. And, I'll go over a few more heads here in a second, but.
So I'm going to stop you right there for a second. Yeah. So you made an interesting thing, and I don't know if a lot of people know about who Jason Gore is. Okay, and Jason's very humble. So Jason has a very unique background when it comes to making. He mentioned it there. So this is why Jason is probably one of the absolute best in coming up in this industry, because of his background and what he does. So Jason, just give them a short, brief mention about who Jason Gore is, and as far as his actual machinist background and what you do.
So, long story short, I would just give you the lowdown. There's 3 companies in the world that do what my company does. So, I'm the number 2 machinist at our shop behind my really good friend. His name's Jason as well. And we make parts for racing teams, anywhere from Formula One to IndyCar to NASCAR to Pro Stock. I mean, you name it, we make it. If it goes fast, boats, airplanes, the military, it doesn't matter. We do it all. We are a very, very high-end performance racing company. And, having the ability to go to a computer and log something, design it, shoot it to a machine, walk out there, machine your part. If you like it, fantastic. If not, shoot it back, redesign it real quick, machine it again, and really fine tune what you want and how you want it, and say, hey, man, if I could have this is what I would do. And this is kind of this is the aftermath and the thoughts of that. And one reason I was showing that, Cap, is because, when your ballyhoo's up in these lures here like this, the water's coming out the sides here. It's not going to wash out our ballyhoo. Definitely for a reason. And, there's a cut facing here. So when this thing catches there and it comes down, it's just going to give you the shimmy there, and the ballyhoo's just going to twitch like this right here. So we're not going to wash our ballyhoo out. And, I know you've seen them And Ryan, you fished a lot of these, but
That's that's my favorite.
this is our small lock-in head here, and you can see the
Yeah.
lock-in slot, and that correlates with the offset hole here. So that offset hole is in line right there with the slot. So this lure is kill weighted. It's heavier down here. So you can see where the slot is up here, and you literally just take the pin of your ballyhoo and you just slide it in that slot.
Yeah.
And it locks in. And I've even got guys, Cap, that when they slide their pin in here, they get another rubber band and they wrap the rubber band around the pin. Then that way they literally lock it in where that fish or the ballyhoo can't come out.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So they just take these real small rubber bands like this,
Okay.
like my daughter's braces. And as the pin goes in, you just put it here and you literally just wrap it around a couple times and it's locked in like that right there. So the fish just literally can't, the ballyhoo can't go anywhere. So, and here's an idea of what, like, that's what one of our, and then there's the lock in part right there.
Yeah.
So
That's
dolphin
a
eat dolphin.
that's a magnet right there. I know that. The first time I ran that lure, guys, and I've ran it, I've only been able to run it a couple times because of how my schedule's been and stuff. And I got to tell you what, the first time I ran that, we caught two wahoo on it, jumped a dolphin, and then I ran the bigger size of that one, and I got a 40 pounder. The fish that when you put that on a darker day, it looks like a mahi in the water, and we all know that like big mahi love to eat smaller mahi. So that's it.
So here's kind of the same, that's the same head, just in
Yeah.
a different color. But this one's in like a blue and white. This is a hair lure here. And then you can see the lock-in feature on this side right
Mhm.
here. So, well, I say you can see it. It's, yeah, you can see it right there.
Yep. Yep.
So again, when I'm dolphin fishing and I'm fishing this blue and white right here, I feel like I've got a really good chance at catching a tuna as well. So dolphin will destroy this thing, whether it's in mylar, whether it's in hair or whatever. And again, here's one that's in pink and white. And again, it's got the lock-in head there.
Okay.
So
Jason, when people are looking at hair versus mylar, what do you tell them? I mean, what everybody has their own preferences. Have you seen a difference in what fish like as far as like I'm honestly relatively new to the mylar game over the past couple of years, so it's always been so that I'm still like graduating into the mylar game, but you specialize in you've been running mylar lures for a very long time. So what's your thought process? Have you seen differences on days where they like hair versus mylar? What would you recommend somebody like it's going to buy some lures right now? What's your thought process?
so um, we'll just start with old reliable here. And that's the blue and white hair, man. Sea Witch, Islander, Gore's offshore. We've all got them in our boats, right? Like the standard Carolina Sea Witch is a blue and white or a pink and white hair lure. They caught thousands and tens of thousands of pelagics in its time and its existence. I would say that the tuna are more reluctant to bite the hair lures, even hair lures. So you can see this one's got the super pearl flash around it. So
Yeah.
when I'm making my tuna lures, I'll just make the blue and white hair. I won't even put the mylar on there because sometimes I think the extra flash just kind of scares them away. I think they like it so simply stupid that people just don't think about that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying they won't eat it. Don't get me wrong. I've caught hundreds of tuna on this lure right here, blue and white with the flash on it. But when I'm specifically tuna fishing, I may only have one or two of those out with the mylar on it. But overall, yes, I love mylar. I just love the way it looks in the water. If you've ever seen our lures in the water, you know, they literally look like a disco ball. So,
Yeah, I mean,
and I'll say this about our lures or the Mylar I chose versus what, you know, the standard fish scale. Everybody's seen that Mylar, right? I mean, it just got the big humps on it, the big U's and things like that. But there's something, and you know, I don't know if you can see it, but our Mylar kind of walks and swims, kind of like, I don't know if you can kind of see how it's like moving and glistening. It's hard to see it unless you're like really out in the sun and things like that. See how it's really sparkling?
yep.
I just think the scale that I personally picked out and I went with is better than this what I call the standard fish scale. And you know, it's no secret where I get my Mylar. I'm not going to broadcast it all over the country. I mean, you can call the same company up and buy some if you want to, but um, yeah. Again, we're not talking about wahoo today, but when I'm wahoo fishing, I always have half Mylar, half hair in the water. And again, some days it's one or the other. They like Mylar better than they like hair. Some days they like hair better than they like Mylar. So being a lure maker, I'm always prepared when we go. So I can have 2 or 3 spreads of Mylar and I can have 2 or 3 spreads of hair. So
Gotcha.
you
That's
know, but it's just hard to beat a blue and white hair lure.
mhm.
You know, again, we call it the old reliable, and again, you know, just kind of standard is, you know, this pink and white right here. So you guys down in Florida, you know, a lot of you guys catch a lot of fish on blue and pink. We call that cotton candy. So
Yep.
um, again, it's all personal preference. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
And it's just it's however you want to fish. And you know, you have to take care of these lures. They're not something you can just fish, wash them off, throw them in a bucket, and think they're gonna, you know, you have to take care of them. You may have to get your Mylar lures like this, and you may have to store them with a little bitty rubber band and leave it up like this, you know, to hold the flare. And, you know, sometimes I think when the Mylar gets tore off, I think you catch more fish for whatever reason. It's just got these battle
Okay.
stars on there. So, you know, I had a guy send me a picture of one of our purple and black Mylar lures the other day. I said, man, that thing needs some some new Mylar on it. He said, man, this thing catches more than a brand new Gore's offshore lure. So, you know, until it's completely worn off, he won't send it back to me, or I won't send him any more Mylar. He'll continue to fish it as long as it's got 7 or 8 strands of Mylar on there, even though this one's got you know 150 on there. So
I love it.
you know it's pretty cool. But again, it's all personal preference and what you like.
Yeah.
I think once you see the Mylar lures in the water, and we've caught tons of blue marlin sailfish on our Mylar lures, so you know, I don't think it makes that big, and a lot of tuna as well. So I say they're kind of shy. Some days they are, some days they aren't. That's another subject for a tuna day for sure. But you know, it's hard to beat the hair, absolutely. But I'm a huge fan of the Mylar for sure.
Yeah. And also too, you make some flashabou lures. I see that. I really love that color right there.
Yeah, so this is kind of
That's a great color.
like a nice blue up top, and I put like a
Yeah.
silver under or a white underneath it. So this is kind of a good lure here to put behind your flippy floppy. This one's got jets in it as well. You know, and again, it's about probably 6.5, 7 inches long, something like that.
Yeah.
So this is another, you know, naked lure here that's great to run behind your flippy floppy. That's really gonna, you know, really what I call disco ball, the sunlight, and again, that may be the lure that brings them in your spread. You may not catch a fish on it all day, but you know, when you start taking lures out and replacing them with something and you don't catch any fish, and you're like, well, all I did was have a blackfin tuna lure right there. Put the blackfin tuna lure back out and you catch another fish. So that tells me, hey, I'm not catching any fish on this blackfin lure, even though I got a hook and a huge ballyhoo on it, and I'm trying to catch a fish on it 100%. But that lure is bringing these fish in because I took it out and I didn't catch any fish. As soon as I put it back in, I caught another fish. So again, it's acting as a teaser. You know, I'm just not quote unquote teaser fishing. So it does have a
Right.
hook. I run the Nomads, the DTX 200s and the 220s. people think I'm crazy. And when I tell them this, when I'm wahoo fishing, I'll run that lure. Yes, I'm trying to catch a wahoo on it, but I'm running it more as a teaser than I am anything else. It gets down deep in the water column. It's got erratic action. It's sitting there doing this in the water, and I'm using it as a teaser. Do I want to catch a fish on it? Absolutely. I want to catch 9 wahoo on all 9 rods when I'm trolling, for sure. But sometimes it just takes things like that to, again, and that's just 26 years of experience being offshore and noticing little things, jotting things down, writing things down when the wind's blowing, going back to your book to say, hey, on this day it was partly cloudy with the same temperature and the same water clarity. What did I do? And you can flip back and say, oh, well, I switched over to this and we started catching fish. So instead of switching over, I'm going to start with that now instead of, kind of making the same mistake twice. So,
No, that's a good point. And guys, it even goes back to like a lot of people think that like, well, dolphin fishing, you just run out there. Well, having a book and having historicals on especially moon phases like the new moon, which is I consider the absolute best for dolphin fishing just because of the migration and spawning. So, but with Jason, I get asked a lot about, well, how fast do I troll these lures? Where do I put them at in my spread? So for somebody that, has those questions as far as if they want to do like I only run a 3-line spread. That's all I need for dolphin fishing. I just want to get them in. So, but a lot of guys want to run 4 to 5. So, can you provide like looking at the lures there, how would you run a 4-line spread with what you have available right there, and a
yeah.
shotgun?
So let's just say we're going to run some chuggers with some ballyhoo. So we'll run 2 ballyhoo lures and we'll run 2 naked lures. Okay, just because I said we'd switch it up half and half to make sure we'd run. So I'm going to run something like this on my shotgun line. I always like a blue on my long line. I couldn't tell you how many hundreds of wahoo I've caught on a blue and white, 200 to 250 yards behind the boat. It's just standard, man. Like it's the only color that's going on my long line ever, unless I'm running a bird and I'm going to run a green machine or something like that. So,
Yeah.
and I don't run it 200 yards behind the boat. I just get it behind all the other lures so everything's not tangling up when I'm turning
Hmm.
and making my moves and things like that. But
Do you like to run your shotgun off your high rigger so it stays out of the way?
yeah, so we actually have what we call the like your outriggers.
Yeah.
So a long line pole that goes way up above the boat.
Okay, so you do have a long line pull.
I've got a release clip that comes down and I clip it and I haul it up. And that's the first line that goes out every time. So
Okay.
if you're new, we put the longest line out first. So what Captain Ryan is speaking of the shotgun line is, you can call it your long line, shotgun, whatever you want. It's the line that goes back farthest in your spread. And if you're dolphin fishing, you don't have to put that thing back there 200 yards if you don't want to. Again, dolphin aren't very picky; they'll eat anything. So unless you've got a young buck on the boat that wants to reel in a lot of line and watch him tail walk about 100 times, you really don't have to put it back there that far. So typically, if you're just starting or you're new, anywhere from like 5 to 7 knots, somewhere around in there, it's kind of each boat's different now. You kind of find the sweet spot for your boat. Somewhere 7 to 8 for if I'm dolphin fishing for me is about perfect as far as like the way my lures look, the way they're going to run, because these lures right here, they're just going to dip, dive, get air. And this particular skirt is a glow skirt. So, the more sunlight it gets, the more it glows in the water. So, um, you want your flippy floppy to have some action. If you're going too slow, it's just going to kind of be out there doing that. The faster I go, the faster them little arms are flipping in the water, making a commotion. And I think the noise has something to do with those flippy floppies as well. Sometimes it's just if they're close, I think they can hear it. But if they're like 40 or 50 foot down, I don't know if they can physically hear it. They definitely can look up and see it. So it's more of a visual thing at that point versus, hey, I got him in the spread. What's making all this noise? Let me go eat it now. So just a quick, scientific, dolphin. It's more like of a tuna thing because I think tuna use their lateral lines on their side more than any other fish in the ocean to hone in on flying fish and squid and things like that. So again, that's another story for another day. But typically anywhere from 5 to 7 knots. And if you want to run a shotgun line, you want to run. If you've got outriggers, even if you don't have outriggers, you can still stick them up on your T tops to kind of get them out of the way. And I'm going to put one, not as far as the long line, and then I'm going to put the second one here, and then you can run a flat line. And you keep your line staggered. This is just if you're beginning. That way, when you make your turn, you're not dragging stuff over each other. Like this lure can clear this lure and things like that. So you're not going to have a bird's nest out there, and you can just kind of stagger your lines and do things like that. So,
Perfect.
like again, like if I'm tuna fishing, I'm running everything way, way away from the boat. But dolphin fishing, you really don't have to do things like that. So,
Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you, Jason.
yes, sir.
Um, so now let's get down to nitty gritty here, and it's what what do you think's like as far as an insider tip of what's happening right now as far as a lure goes that you would say, let's do this?
Uh,
I put Jason on the spot because the one thing about I want to tell you guys is that Jason has been doing this for a very long time, and he's built his customers or he has a lot of regular clients, and he does a lot of customization. Okay, so that's one thing he's like that sets him apart is that if you have something that you have in mind, Jason will work with you on the customization of the lures that you want. So that's one thing, I'll say, hey Jason, I need to add a little bit more blue in this. That's what's working now for me versus what may be working in another area. So the time of year, you're seeing something that a fish is eating, and you want a little bit more of that one particular thing. And fishermen are crazy like that, which makes us that's what keeps us up at night, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, and Jason's that guy that can make your lure dreams. Like you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, man, I think that'll work. I'm gonna call Jason.
yeah, that's the crazy thing. You guys are down in Florida. I've got some Florida Gator, customers. They wanted blue over orange. I was like, no problem, man. If that's what you want, I got to put two colors on there anyway. I can do that. I can, as you said, make your lure dreams come true.
Yep.
It doesn't matter to me. I've told you this hundreds of times, Cap. I work for you guys and I work for you gals. So, doesn't matter to me if you want blue and green together versus green and crystal. I could care less. I want you to be happy with what you want. And you may have had, grandpa's lure from 1979 that caught X, Y, and Z. And man, nobody in the world will make this lure for me. Well, that's not correct. Call the number on my logo. That is my direct cell phone number. You're not getting some call center in India. You're not going to get my wife. Thank goodness. No, I'm just kidding. Still love you, honey. Um, I don't have any crazy customer sales reps or salesmen. You're going to get me personally. And if I can't answer the phone, leave me a message and I'll call you back as quickly as I can. So I love working for you guys and gals, and I love doing what you do. But I've said it before, and this color is overlooked time and time again, man. And within the last 3 years, this has become probably one of my favorite colors. And I catch a lot of really big dolphin, and it's just this what we call our gold cigar minnow here. So this one actually just has a chrome head. This is not one of our lock-in heads, but the gold has become really good. Not only a big, what I call a big dolphin lure, but it catches a ton of wahoo as well. But if I'm personally going out and I'm going to try to catch a big dolphin to win the big rock, man, it's just hard to beat something with a bigger head on it and this blue and white hair right here, man, with this flash. I know it sounds cliche. I know it sounds petty and simple, but sometimes keeping it stupid simple is just going to get your biggest results. So,
I mean, that's
and
like a 1 ounce head, right? I mean, that's not a heavy head. That's one thing you guys got to realize. They're aluminum and they're like they're very light. So you
They are.
guys just keep that in mind. These are not like monster like 3 ounces that you can run. These heads are built to run. Yeah.
And you can kind of see the profile difference that it gives as well.
Yeah.
So, here's the heads side by side. So this is just going to give me that, man, I'm a dolphin and I'm hungry and I want something big to eat.
Bigger profile light and they're light.
Yeah, they're light. And I've got those in a 4 ounce as well. If you like a
Hmm.
heavier lure, hey, I
Got them
work
in
for you
low.
guys and gals. I can make that in a heavier lure.
Yep.
But it's just that bigger profile, when I'm fishing the big rock with a select ballyhoo and I'm trying to catch a 50 or 60 pound dolphin. So I'm not saying that elephants don't eat peanuts because they definitely do. But, when I'm trying to catch a really big dolphin, it's just this bigger profile bait with the bigger head. And again, just keeping it kind of simple with, here in the Carolinas, man, you can see tens of thousands of flying fish now. They come in like the first week of May. So I just think that represents a flying fish to the best of my ability. So again, it sounds cliche and it sounds simple, but I just like a bigger profile. And I'll tell you one of my colors that I love to fish that a lot of people don't know, and I have no problem sharing it because it's no skin off my teeth. But I like a purple over pink. Um, there's just something about purple, period, and then there's just something about pink, and when it's together, man, I'll probably be getting a bunch of orders for some wahoo on that one later. But man, it's just a fantastic color that a lot of people don't fish. And another one that I like to fish is blue over green. So green and white's a good color. And again, you just don't see a lot of these out in the store. And again, I have no secrets because I want everybody to catch fish. But it's just simple stuff like that that nobody thinks about, and no lure makers make. But yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. You guys want a certain color. You may want white over black. I don't care. I'll put black over white. It's whatever whatever you want. So that's one thing I love is to not making your dreams come true, but making your lure dreams come true. It's
Make
just
make my lure dreams come true.
again, we're very humbled to do this and to say, and even our logo says, custom made offshore fishing lures, and they are custom because
Yeah.
we'll customize them however you want to. So it's very humbling, and we're very appreciative for all the support, man. It means a lot to us, and I know you've been a part of that, Cap, and Beverly and I are very, very, very thankful for your
Oh,
support.
that's awesome. There's one lure that I really am looking forward to, and I haven't been able to run it yet, but this is this chrome chugger.
Oh yeah,
And I'm so looking forward to this one right here. And it's got the mylar underneath it, but it's when you have it super light and and it's chrome, got those big eyes.
got jets on it.
Got the I've got the jets. I'm like stoked about this one. I'm just so like it's just
Yeah, that particular lure there you're holding. I mean, I think 2 or 3 years ago, I can count 9 or 10 blue marlin that was caught on that particular lure right there. So, and you can kind of see that Ryan's got that mylar, the ice blue underneath. So we kind of is that got ice blue? Yeah, it's ice
yeah,
blue.
it's got ice blue on it.
So dolphin are green, yellow, and blue. So we kind of customized to say, hey man, when that sparkle hits through the skirt, you see that ice blue.
Yep.
We can do it like this lure here, you can see it's just got super pearl underneath it. So I've got customers that want this lure with black underneath it, black mylar. So it's just to each their own. And
Yep.
I'm putting mylar on there. I don't care if it's purple, green, glue, clear, or glue. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to put it on there. And if you want a specific color, man, no problem at all.
I love it.
Again, I work for you guys and gals.
I love it. So, guys, before we wrap up, Jason's got something hanging up in the background. I want you guys to take a look at. These are very cool, especially for you guys that really are going to be fishing a lot of dolphin tournaments and want to set your guys' selves apart. So, I'm going to have Jason show these to you here before we wrap it up.
Yeah, real quick, man. Appreciate you letting me do this. I've come to terms and really good friends with a buddy out of Charleston, South Carolina, and it's Fish Flags USA. So you can see the dolphin here. I've got another one here. I'll kind of show an up close version here. And then here's the best part. There's the Gore's Offshore logo. And not only is it on this side, if you turn it around, it's on the other side as well. So you can see the detail that's in the dolphin, and it's very colorful. And they're they're very, very durable. And they've got their grommets here on the sides. You can hang these up on your poles. And real quick, here's a realistic wahoo that they sent us as well. Put the Gore's Offshore logo on there. So, that's the wahoo. And then they can customize anything you guys want, your name, your boat name. They can even come like on this side up here and put your boat name. I think me and Ryan were talking about, man, it'd be pretty cool to have some, that your customers catch and say, hey, they can put their names on it. They can buy their own flag just to kind of, and the date they caught them on, just as a commemorative to say, man, we had an awesome day with good karma, and man, we tore the dang dolphin up or caught some wahoo. Just a nice momentum to hang in your trophy room if you don't have a lot of room. It's just, as you can see, it doesn't take up a lot of room, and they're super cool. So those
Yeah, I
guys,
love them.
they've been
I love
fantastic
them.
to us. Yeah, for sure.
Now, guys, now if you're coming down here to the Keys and I highly recommend that if you're already down here or planning a trip, you can get orders placed through Jason and you don't have enough time, or if you're down here, you want to try out a few of the chuggers, we have them available at Chris's Bait and Tackle at Tavernier Creek Marina. So you guys can stop in there, and we'll probably bring in a few more here because we really these are some of the absolute best as far as I really love these. I cannot wait. I'm seeing some big fish being caught on these chuggers. Jason sent me some pictures of some guys down here that are catching some nice, big, like some really nice dolphin on this stuff. Um, so I wanted to just let you guys know that. So I would highly recommend you get a couple of those if you're planning your trip down there, and then Jason can get you outfitted for your summer down here. So, but we're gonna wrap it up here. Jason, how can they find you, and as far as contact information goes, and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, Cap. You can go to www.goresoffshore.com. That's all one word, no apostrophe. GORES offshore.com. My phone number's on there. It's 336-442-1509. That's my cell phone number that I'm talking to right now on this podcast. So, again, you're not going to get some call center, somebody that you can't understand. You're going to get a country boy from North Carolina that has a little twang. But, email jason@goresoffshore.com. But, the biggest thing is just go to the website. You can kind of see all the variety we have. We have our high-speed lures. We have our naked lures. We have our mylar lures, hair lures, everything like that. And if you see something on the website that you want that may be out of stock, let me know. It's kind of the summertime. So this is when I kind of restock everything and get everything ready for what we call the fall run. So I
Perfect.
keep a small stash of lures. So I may have a couple, even though it says out of stock. Just call me and ask me. And if you see some colors that you want that I don't have on my website, just personally call me. Hey, man, my husband likes blue over green or purple over, yellow. So
Father's Day.
yeah, Father's Day is coming up. It's a great way to, um, a fisherman, Ryan, this as good as anybody. You can never have too many lures. So
Never,
we're here
never.
to supply everyone's addictions and your needs. And
Yep.
again, we're very, very humbled that you guys trust Gore's Offshore. And, when you send us fish pictures and videos, it just means the world to us. So we
Love it.
sincerely appreciate all the support. It means a lot to us. Thank you.
Awesome. Jason is very helpful, and when obviously he's, as you can tell, so when you call and you got questions, he's going to answer them for you and get you set up the right way. So thank you, Jason. I really appreciate you coming on, guys. You guys know how to get a hold of him, and if you want to set yourself apart this summer and into the fall, especially when we start getting into wahoo season, we'll have Jason on here. We'll have him on again when we get into the blackfin tuna season down here and all that other good stuff. So as we get into the fall season. Thank you, Jason, man. I really appreciate you taking the time today, brother.
Thanks for having me, Cap. I really appreciate it. It's always awesome to talk fishing, and I wish we could talk for 4 more hours because I could go on and on and on. So
I love it.
thanks for
Thank you,
having me,
guys.
man.
Like I said, we can make sure you re-listen to the podcast. Jason dropped a few nuggets in there, so you'll have to go back through and listen because we know, and Jason knows that I like that. And any good captain loves to layer in the nuggets, and it's rather than feed it to you, you have to go back and listen. A few of you guys probably picked up on a few things, but I really suggest you go back through and listen again. All good, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you check out goodkarmasportfishing.com. Follow me on Instagram because we'll have a few clips of Jason's lures and all that other good stuff, what's happening down here in the Keys. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good. Thank you, guys.